Let's continue with 10 funding to raise startup capital in this video. Hope you understood the first part of chapter 9. Now this will be again another part interesting and it will give us 10 ideas about funding to raise startup capital. First, according to a recent study, over 94% of new businesses fail during first year of operation. Lack of funding turns to be one of the common reasons. Money is the bloodline of any business. The long, painstaking yet exciting journey from idea to revenue generating business needs a fuel named capital, which we all know. That's why, at almost every stage of the business, entrepreneurs find themselves asking, how do I finance my startup? So, of course, a lot of money is required for that from time to time, and it's a big challenge to get this fuel called capital. There are few more ways to raise funds for your business. However, these might not work for everyone. Still, check them out if you need quick funds. Product pre-sale. Selling your products before they launch is an often overlooked and highly effective way to raise the money needed for financing your business. Remember how Apple and Samsung started pre-orders of their products well ahead of the official launch. So great if your business is getting pre-orders. There cannot be anything like that. It's a great way to improve cash flow and prepare yourself for the consumer demand. Fundraising. Now, when would you require funding depends largely on the nature and type of the business. But once you have realized the need for fundraising, below are some of the different sources of finance available. Here is a comprehensive guide that lists 10 funding options for startups that will help you raise capital for your business. Some of these funding options are for Indian business. However, similar alternatives are available in different ways. First is bootstrapping your startup business. Self-funding, also known as bootstrapping, is an effective way of startup financing, especially when you are just starting your business. First-time entrepreneurs often have trouble getting funding without first showing some traction and a plan for potential success. You can invest from your own savings or can get your family and friends to contribute. This will be easy to raise due to less formalities, compliances, plus less cost of raising. In most situations, family and friends are flexible with the interest rate. And of course, sometimes they are flexible if you're not able to return the money too. Self-funding or bootstrapping should be considered as a first funding option because of its advantage. When you have your own money, you are tied to business because you know it's your hard-earned money. On a later stage, investors consider this as a good point, but this is suitable only if the initial requirement is small. Some businesses need more money right from the day one, and for such businesses, bootstrapping may not be a very good option. Bootstrapping is also about stretching resources, both financial and otherwise, as far as they can. Check out these 30 tips to save money and improve your business cash flow. Second is crowdfunding as a funding option. So, like we said, there are a lot of websites which will tell you 30 options, 40 options, 50 options to improve your cash flow. You can go through those slides if you are looking for more options for startups. There can be international funding also gradually. Now, crowdfunding is one of the newer ways of funding a startup that has been gaining a lot of popularity. It's like taking a loan, pre-order, contribution, or investments from more than one person at the same time. This is how crowdfunding works. An entrepreneur will put up a detailed description of his business or a crowdfunding platform. He will mention the goals of his business, plans for making a profit, how much funding he needs and for what reasons, etc. And then the consumers can read about the business and give money if they like the idea. Those giving money will make online pledges with the promise of pre-buying the product or giving a donation. Anyone can contribute money towards helping a business that they still believe in and they feel that their money will make a difference to the society. Plus, it will help us to gain profit. Why you should consider crowdfunding as a funding option for your business? The best thing about crowdfunding is that it can also generate interest and hence helps in marketing the product alongside financing. It is also a boon if you are not sure if they will be of any demand for the product you are working on. So if you have to close down, it helps. This process can cut out professional investors and brokers by putting funding in the hands of common people. It also might attract venture capital investment down the line if a company has a particular successful campaign. Some of the popular crowdfunding sites in India are Indiegogo, Wishberry, Keto, Fundlined, and Catapult. In US, Kickstarter, Rocket Hub, Dream Funded, OnInvest, and GoFundMe are some of the funding platforms. You can check their websites for more information, how much interest they charge, how they support, etc. Get angel investment in your startup. Angel investors are individuals with surplus cash and a keen interest to invest in upcoming startups. They also work in groups of networks to collectively screen the proposals before investing. They also offer mentoring or advice alongside capital. So basically, they give guidance, support, counseling, any kind of helping during the troubled times, and if a startup is stuck up. Angel investors have helped to start up many prominent companies, including Google, Yahoo, and Alibaba. This alternative form of investing generally occurs in a company's early stages of growth, with investors expecting up to 30% equity. They prefer to take more risks in investments for higher returns because they don't want to put their money in hundreds of places and then keep following up with all the sources. So they prefer that they give minor investments, okay, and they get maximum profit out of it. 30% equity means 30% ownership of the said business. Angel investment as a funding option has its shortcomings too. Angel investors invest lesser amounts than venture capitalists. Of course, there's a lot of this covered in the next chapter too. Here is a list of popular angel investors in India. Indian Angel Network, Mumbai Angels, Hyderabad Angels. Also check out the list of individual angel investors in India. Some of these active angel investors have invested in many successful startups. Get venture capital for your business. This is where you make the big bets. Venture capitals are professionally managed funds who invest in companies that have huge potential. They usually invest in a business against equity and exit when there is an IPO or an acquisition. VCs provide expertise, mentorship, and acts as a litmus test of where the organization is going. Evaluating the business from the sustainability and scalability point of view, a venture capital investment may be appropriate for small businesses that are beyond the startup phase and already generating revenues. Fast growth companies like Flipkart, Uber, etc., with an exit strategy already in place can gain up to 10 of millions of dollars that can be used to invest, network, and grow their company quickly. However, there are a few downsides of venture capitalists as a funding option. VCs have a short lease where it comes to company loyalty, and they easily break up if they feel that the company is not going in the right direction. And probably they will not support further if they do not like how the company is progressing, and often look to recover their investment within a 3 to 5 year time window. If you have a product that is taking longer than that to get to market, then venture capital investors may not be interested in you. They typically look for larger opportunities that are a little bit more stable, companies having a strong team of people and good traction. You also have to be flexible with your business and sometimes give up a little bit more control. So if you're not interested in too much mentorship or compromise, this might not be your best option. Some of the well-known venture capitalists in India are Nexus Venture Partners, Helion Ventures, Kalari Capital, Excel Partners, Bloom Ventures, Bessemer Ventures, etc. Get funding from business incubators and accelerators. Early stage businesses can consider incubator and accelerator programs as a funding option. Found in almost every major city, these programs assist hundreds of startup businesses every year. Though used interchangeably, there are few fundamental differences between the two terms. Incubators are like a parent to a child who nurture the business, providing shelter tools and training and network to a business. Accelerators show more or less the same thing, but an incubator helps assist nurtures a business to walk, while accelerator helps to run take a giant leap. So basically, incubators are like parent-child relationship. They really give the entire support required. Let's go to the next slide. These programs normally run for 4 to 8 months and require time commitment from the business owners. You will also be able to make good connections with mentors, investors, and other fellow startups using this platform. In US, companies like Dropbox, Airbnb started with an accelerator by Combinator. In India, popular names are Amity Innovation Incubator, Angel Prime, CIE, IAN Business Incubator, Will Grow Startup Village, and T Labs. Popular business accounting softwares, ProfitBooks is also a part of Washington-based accelerator, Village Capital. Isn't it awesome to know about these names and that you can be part of these incubators? Raise funds by winning contests. An increase in the number of contests has tremendously helped to maximize the opportunities for fundraising. It encourages entrepreneurs with business ideas to set up their own businesses. In such competitions, you either have to build a product or prepare a business plan. Of course, a business proposal makes a big difference to your startup because it gives a complete understanding of what you are doing for the business. Winning these competitions can also get you some media coverage. We at ProfitBooks benefited a lot when were regional finalists in Microsoft BizSparks in 2013 and won Hot 100 Startup Award in 2014. So isn't that great that there are so many awards? There are entrepreneurial startup awards of Economic Times too. You need to make your project stand out in order to improve your success in these contests. You can either present your idea in person or pitch it through a business plan. It should be comprehensive enough to convince anyone that your idea is worth investing in. Some of the popular startups contests in India are NASSCOM's 1 lakh startups or 10,000 startups, Microsoft BizSparks, Conquest, Next Big Idea contest, and Let's Ignite. Check out the latest startup programs and contests in your area. Here is a calendar of various business plan competitions. So basically, if you check on Google, you will get a calendar where the various startups are happening and incubation centers where the investors are meeting the startup businesses. Next point is raise money through bank loans. Normally, banks is the first place that entrepreneurs go when thinking about funding. The bank provides two kinds of financing for businesses. One is working capital loan and the other is funding. Working capital loan is the loan required to run one complete cycle of revenue generating operations. And the limit is usually decided by hypothecating stocks and debtors. Means giving a number or calculating how much stock is there and how much liability is there. Funding from bank would involve the usual process of sharing the business plan and the valuation details, along with the project report based on which the loan is sanctioned. Next, SME Finance. Almost every bank in India offers small and medium enterprise finance through various programs. For instance, leading Indian banks, Bank of Baroda, HDFC, ICICI, and Axis banks have more than 7 to 8 different options to offer collateral free business loans. Check out the respective bank sites for more details. Learn how to get working capital loans in India by visiting these websites and reading and meeting representatives. Next point is get business loans from microfinance providers or NBFCs, which we have seen a bit already. Okay, what do you do when you can't qualify for a bank loan? There is still an option. Microfinance is basically access of financial services to those who would not access to conventional banking services. It is increasingly becoming popular for those whose requirements are limited and credit ratings not favored by bank. So basically some people's credit ratings are negative because they have not paid their interest or premiums on time. But such people may not be completely wrong and require fundings. So that is where these NBFCs come in use. Similarly, NBFCs are non-banking financial corporations that provide banking service without meeting legal requirements. Check Microfinance Institute network for more details. Here is a list of top microfinance companies in India. At Profit Books, they have partnered with top leaders to get fundings. Next is government programs that offer startup capital. The Government of India has launched 10,000 crore startup funds in Union Budget 2014 and 15 to improve startup ecosystem in India. In order to boost innovative product companies, government has launched Bank of Ideas and Innovation programs. Government-backed Pradhan Mantri Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency Limited, that is Mudra, starts with an initial corpus of 20,000 crores to extend benefits to around 10 lakh SMEs. You are supposed to submit your business plan, and once approved, the loan gets sanctioned. You get a Mudra card, which is like a credit card, which you can use to purchase raw materials, other expenses, etc. Shishu, Kishore, Tarun are three categories of loans available under the promising scheme. Learn more about Mudra on its website. So we can see in the diagram how business gets support from government. Others. Also, different states have come up with different programs like Kerala State Self-Entrepreneur Development Mission, KSSEDM, Maharashtra Center for Entrepreneurship Development, Rajasthan Startup Fest, etc. to encourage small businesses. SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India, also offer business loans to MSME sector, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. Let's understand a bit about initial public offering. Initial public offer refers to the event where a startup lists on stock market for the first time. Since the public listing process is elaborate and replete with statutory formalities, it is generally undertaken by startups with an impressive track record of profits and who are growing at a steady pace. One of the benefits of an IPO is that a public listing at times can increase the credibility of the startup and be a good exit opportunity for stakeholders. So basically, IPO means a great success step for a company. Other methods to get the funds are selling assets. This might sound like a tough step to take, but it can help someone meet their short-term fund requirements. Once that person overcomes crisis situation, he can again buy back the assets or buy second hand from websites like Sulekha, OLX, etc. Next point is credit cards. Business credit cards are among the most readily available ways to finance a startup and can be a quick way to get instant money. If the new business do not have any other source and have tons of expenses, one can use credit card, but of course this is very risky. If you feel your business will do good, then only this way of funding will be useful, and keep paying the minimum payment, that is interest, throughout its life. However, keep in mind that the interest rates and cost on the card can build up very quickly. And carrying that debt can be detrimental to a business owner's credit ratings. Also, students can read about invoice discounting. It's a good way to manage the cash flow in short term. How to get funding for existing businesses. Till now we have seen how to get it for a startup or a new business. Now let's see if your business is already set up, how to get money for this kind of business, and it can be an exciting thing to learn. So now we will be understanding from existing businesses how to get funds. Expanding your business is an exciting process, but it is one which needs to be managed carefully. By analyzing all of the growth options available to someone, as well as the cost implications, one can ensure that that person is getting the most in the lucrative growth stage. Similarly, examining all the funding options one could use will ensure they are able to access the right type of financing for their business. Business loans is one of the methods for existing businesses. A business loan can be straightforward and a simple way to access the capital one needs for specific reasons, depending, of course, on the requirements. If someone requires equipment to facilitate business growth, for example, equipment financing could be one method and maybe want to pay back over years. A long term business loan could be more appropriate. With numerous financial products designed to support growing businesses, securing a business loan could be easier than someone thinks. Preparing for business growth. Expanding the business is an exciting process, but it's one which needs to be managed carefully. By analyzing all of the growth options available to someone, as well as the cost implications, one can ensure that they are pursuing the most lucrative growth strategy. Similarly, examining all the funding options one could use will ensure they are able to access the right type of financing for their business. For most entrepreneurs, finding funding to fuel growth is a huge challenge, and it can be especially difficult for businesses that traditionally lenders high risk because of low credit scores, limited business history, or even industry type. So basically, if the business is new or has very less amount of history, not like years and years of history, and if the industry is more risky, maybe like cryptocurrencies, then it is a high risk business. That's why so many of us relied on personal funds or help from friends and family to get the business idea running and doing well. Next slide is about going this route can work at first, but even if they are come out with gates of fire and huge profits, and usually in first couple of years they might be doing well, but they might not have time to wait on revenues or profits alone for expansion. Fortunately, there are creative ways to get business financing these days. At last count, 44 different types of business financing exists. So that means like there are numerous ways. You just need to find them. More options may seem sweet on the surface, but the devil is always in the details. So someone needs to make sure that they get approved funding legally, paperwork clear, and keep trying to pay back on time. So before we get to what a few of these financing options are, it's vital for someone to take care of critical step in the business financing process, managing business credit profile. Like someone's personal credit, your business has its own separate credit profile and scores. And while the personal credit is one of the main factors when it comes to getting funding to start a new business, it comes to expansion. The business credit scores take a larger role once you grow and become a sustained name. That's because lenders want to evaluate how the business has performed. The better the business credit the profile, the more chances of getting funds at a better interest rate rather than paying high interests. In fact, NAV's 2015 Small Business Owner Survey showed that business owners who manage their business credit scores were 41% more likely to get approved for a bank loan. Here are a few tips to ensure your business credit profit looks good to potential lenders. Keep business and personal finances separate. If the finances are blended and personal finances, especially, are mixed up with business money, it can have a difficult situation for a business owner because the consequences of managing both the finances will be difficult. If the business fails or someone is sued, then you will not be able to separate what you have spent for yourself and what you have spent for the business. And if someone is relying on personal credit cards to run the business and miss a few payments or max out the credit utilization, personal scores can drop by 100 points. One of the easiest ways to build a credit in business name is by opening a business credit card and always paying bills on time. If you are looking out for loans in the future, monitor your business credit. Without actively monitoring business reports, one may never know how the business credit is going, positive or negative. Are there errors or there are calculation mistakes? According to a 2014 Wall Street Journal survey, 25% of business credit reports had errors that made the business look riskier than it actually was. So that is why the business were not so risky, but credit reports were negative. Plan for cash flow hiccups. Even if the day-to-day business operations are strong, it doesn't mean there won't be ups and downs in the future due to things like seasonal lulls and consumers who don't pay on time. One can cover during cash flow crunches by establishing a credit line to access short-term capital. That way, they will always be able to pay bills on time and protect credibility. Once they have built a strong business credit profile, a wealth of financing options should be available to them. But if they need to get creative, there are few that may be right for the person who has a business. This option only works for retailers. Inventory financing is a method in which the lender provides funds so one can purchase items to sell at business. If one is looking to expand, using outside financing source would be a more flexible option and easier to get income through fund expansions. I hope this slide is clear to the students. So we go to the next slide, which is about credit card stacking. We have never heard of this term, so let's see what it is. Compared to other business financial options, credit cards are a fairly inexpensive tactic for funding. This approach is ideal for startups or low revenue businesses. Credit card stacking simply lets the person use different credit cards with total credit limits that equal the amount of financing they need. Because of negative perceptions around credit cards, this practice is also referred to as unsecured business credit lines. Since credit card stacking can be tricky, some lenders will help them to get a fee. These lenders usually know about all the card options and can help to get the highest credit limits at lowest rates. Google credit card stacking to see which options are available. Next, we learn about online term loans. An online loan functions similar to a bank loan. However, these rates tend to be higher because of their underwriting requirements are more lax. Online lenders also tend to have a pretty quick turnaround time, usually between a few days and a couple of weeks. Just be sure to use a business loan APR calculator to know the true cost of interest payments and be sure to understand how often they will be making repayments by daily, weekly, or monthly. Hitting a period of high growth for the business is an incredibly rewarding feeling, but it can also be frustrating when lenders won't take a chance on that person. So, you can increase your approval odds by taking small steps to build your business credit and protect your personal credit. It's the easiest way to be always be prepared for what can come next. Let's see the conclusion of this chapter and what can be the next steps. If you want to grow really fast, you probably need outside sources of capital. If you bootstrap, that means put your own money and remain without external funding for too long, you may be unable to sustain and just suffocate the business. So take advantage of the market opportunities. While the plethora of lending options may make it easier than ever to get started, the responsible business owners should ask themselves how much financial assistance they really need. Now, the big question is How do someone prepare business for fundraising? It's better to start from the beginning with corporate governance as it might get hard to go back later and try to exert fiscal discipline. To address these concerns, invest in a good accounting software and keep the finances in order. Here is a quick guide when you see the next chapter: how to get your accounting softwares and business right. Nowadays, just being in the market, covering what is required, and changing and evolving in the business has become very important. So, what you're already doing might not be enough. So, you might have to start 3 to 4 types of businesses to sustain. And retail market has gone really down in last 2 years in lockdown. So, online businesses are the future, is my understanding of entrepreneurship. Thank you, students, for hearing. See you in next chapter. Take care.